My advice is to generally have to have settlement of 4 years or 4.5 years or 5 years right now. During the workman strike, generally it is essential to adhere certain guidelines to ensure safety,
Yeah,
legality, and effective communication. These are
yeah.
very important. One has to go to the lawyer and one has to accept his advice. But at the same time, what happens? He will give the legal advice, and generally HR or higher professional has to maintain the industry relations based on the situations which is there in the industry.
Copy.
And yes,
Any union, any case of formation of union, an HR leader coming to know that some union has already been formed is a typical case of change management. Initial shock, denial. The last two questions. One is that would you like to talk about some labor laws
yeah.
which you think any HR or IR leader must know? So great, amazing morning, audience. First of all, thank you so much for all the love and blessings which you have showered upon the series of heart to heart conversations. And one of the remarkable things about this heart to heart conversation is that there are people, there are guests who have come to these conversations more than once. And today's guest is the only person who is coming for this heart to heart conversation series for the third time. Balasaheb sir, thank you so much. Your interaction which we had, the interaction which I had last time with you, I think has been loved by many people.
Yeah.
And the video of our interaction, which was focused around employee relations, industrial relations, has been seen by almost 500 people. And these
Oh,
are all
great.
organic viewers. These are all people who are actually working corporates in and around Pune and Maharashtra. And that's the reason I thought of having something which, of course, is something which we discussed. The idea was to have one conversation which is dedicated to employee relations. And this is one conversation which is today's conversation, which I think should not be missed by any HR or employee relations or industrial relations professional because it's a rapid fire round.
Yeah.
So today we are going to have 14 to 15 FAQs, frequently asked questions which you are going to ask, which you are going to put across Bala Sahib sir.
Yes.
And all these 14 to 15 questions are the questions which any industrial relations, any employee relations professional, be it an experienced person, be it a person who might be new to the organization, must be thinking about. These are the questions which are crossing through their mind. And that's the reason we thought of having this conversation, which I think must be seen by any employee relations professional. I'm pretty sure audience, you're going to love it. In case you love this conversation, do share this link with other people who you care for. Before that, I think I can share a little about Balasaheb sir. I think audience, in case you have been following these conversations, you might already have known him. Balasaheb Sonawane sir is the vice chairman of National Institute of Personal Management, Pune chapter, NIPM, and he is very active in the field of employee relations and human resources. He has got a deep and insightful experience of 40 years, almost 4 decades in the field of HR and IR, and he has worked with some of the toughest unions while leading HR and IR in some of these best known organizations in Aurangabad, in Nashik, in Baddi, which is in Himachal Pradesh, and in Baramati, in Pune, in all these areas. So, Bala
Great.
Sahib, sir, thank you so much for joining us. And my heartfelt gratitude to you because this is the third conversation for which you have come. In audience, we are going to directly get into the rapid fire round because we are going to ask some questions to Bala Sahib, sir, and believe me, the answers are going to be very, very valuable. Balasaheb sir, what I've seen happening is that there are many HR professionals, who join many multinationals in many organizations. When they join, they get a feeling that they are joining as HR manager or say HR leader or say CHRO. And there is no union in the company. I've seen some of these situations. And then all of a sudden, one day something happens. They see that a group of people who used to be working on the shop floor, who are still working on the shop floor, they are coming to the cabin of HR manager with a smile on their face. I'm saying this with on lighter note. I think this video is also going to
Yeah.
be seen by many people,
Right.
many workmen, many people working on the shop floor. We have got respect for all the people. It's all the same team actually. It's all the same team. So the HR manager sees few people working on the shop floor coming towards his or her cabin, and then these people come. They sit on the chair. HR manager takes his or her own chair, and then one of these people gets up. He puts his hands in the pocket and takes out one letter. And then he says, "Sir, this is the letter about formation of union. Because we have decided to form a union, can you please acknowledge this letter? Can you put your signature and give a copy to us? And that's where the HR leader's life changes. Because the HR leader does not know whether he or she should sign on the letter. Will a simple signature on the letter be seen as recognizing a union or not? Or should he simply ask these people to take some tea, coffee, and then should he go out and then talk to the managing director, or should he talk to some of the leadership team members? So I think this situation is something which is very simple, but these are questions, these are situations which I think many HR leaders, including some of the seasoned HR and employee relations leader, also must have come across. So this is just one of the 14 or 15 questions, gentlemen. So you know what kind of conversation we're going to have, and of course we shall also take the dreaded, fearful subject of strikes and how to handle strikes and employee relations and police and public. So we are going to talk a lot about the things which are, I'm pretty sure, important for all of us. Balasaheb sir, coming to the
Yeah.
first situation. Suppose HR manager sees, comes across this situation where some of the people working on the shop floor comes and tell him that we are going to form a union and this is the letter, can you sign? What should be the response of a HR manager or employee relations manager? Should they sign the letter, and or should they talk to the leadership team or whatever? I think you know this much better than we do. Yeah, over to you.
Good morning, Arunji. It's a good time to talk to you
Good
again
morning.
for
Good
this
morning to the
third
audience.
time. And you have chosen the right topic, and again the question and answer, which is directly related to basically industrial relations union, and which was
Yeah.
my expertise for the period of 40 years. Yes, your question is very valid and right, because this is the very tricky questions also. But see, when you are working in the industry, you have to handle the many issues, like
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
are a management. At the same time, you have to handle with the workmen, and workmen, they have fundamental rights of forming the union, because
Absolutely.
as per the Trade Union Act 1926, if any
Yeah. Yeah.
seven or more person, if they come and join and decide to form a union, they can form a union. They have this fundamental
Absolutely.
right. Yes.
Absolutely.
And if they fulfill the conditions and if they come along with the letter, I think there should not be any problem to accept the letter as per as me is concerned. But
Absolutely.
generally there are HR persons who generally do not accept such letters. They are saying, no, 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 how you can, you have done the union and all these things. You are not talked to us. You are not informed us. Like that, these questions are coming. But as a HR professional, I think there is no point in not accepting the letter. In fact, we should accept it. But my point is that HR manager should know how to handle union, how to handle workmen, and as we have management has a right to run the organization. At the same time, union and the workmen have also have right to form the union and take their issues to the management so far as concerned. So
No, no,
that's what my
absolutely.
opinion is. Yeah.
No, no, absolutely. I think this is very nicely explained. So, gentlemen, I'm talking to the audience. See, every situation has got its own, unique factors which vary from company to company. So, of course, in your case, you can think of talking, just informing the managing director and then coming back and signing on the letter and hand over a copy to the union, because I think this is something which does not mean that you are going to recognize the union.
Yes, correct.
It's just acceptance and receipt of letter. So, I think this is something
Only
which
you
is
are accepting the letter. Only you are accepting, you
absolutely.
have every right to again reply them, again to deal with the case, deal with the situation. That right you have. But if you do
Absolutely.
not accept it, then they will take it in different way. The
They
turn
will
can
take it
be
in a different way, and I think this also saves time, and this also should be done with confidence. They
correct.
should also not see or feel that HR or IR person is getting restless. देखो मजा चखा दिया, देखो इनके पसीने आ गए. It should not,
Yes.
give you those
Correct,
vibes. So
correct.
just
Yes, yeah.
take it naturally, sign it, because signing is something. Accept the letter, because then you can go through the letter later on, and then of course inform people, and then you can hold meetings and all that, which can happen in parallel later
Few
on.
of the
Just
HR person says ki I will discuss with my boss, I will discuss my seniors, I will discuss my the owner. That sort of questions are also coming. But if they
yeah.
are suddenly coming and if they are not ready, otherwise they will decide to send the letter by different forms. Yes, sir. Yes. But that is not a good sign. You should accept it,
Yeah.
and again you have a right to reply it. You have to way to manage the things, and
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
not difficult because it is fundamental rights of the workman, I will say.
Absolutely. No, this is great. This is great. Bala sir, sorry, I'm just thinking about some corollaries of this many
Yeah.
interactions. Suppose some HR manager feels like taking some 5 minutes time, going out, informing MD, and then
Yeah.
coming back and signing. And this should be absolutely perfect,
That
right?
is okay. That is also okay. That is also okay. But
Yes,
it
okay.
should be in the same meeting. It should be in the same meeting.
Same meeting, yeah. So better
Yes.
still, you just take it a smile, sign it up, give a copy to them, and then you hold another,
Correct.
series of meetings. You can have
There are
further
some
meetings.
hierarchy. There are some hierarchy. One has to ask to the seniors and all these things. But he should say, I will come within 5 minutes or so. Yes, that's all.
Excellent. Gentlemen, believe me, the interaction which you are going to hold, this is just the first of 15 rapid fire questions which I've got with me, which I'm going to discuss with Balasaheb sir. And Balasaheb sir, once again, thank you so much for joining us. Audience, this is going to be a very insightful conversation. And I know that some of you might be looking at some of these questions as very simple questions. That's only because you might have spent 20 or 30 or 40 years in this field. But there are many HR and IR professionals who are pretty new. And they are fresh from MBA colleges where, believe me, there is no book while discussing some of the things which we are going to discuss in this conversation. I've got a feeling that this conversation is going to become one of the most widely viewed conversation, and that's only because of Balasaheb sir and only because of the audience. Thank you so much. So next question is Balasaheb sir. In the same situation, now we looked at the same situation from the perspective of HR and IR leader, HR and IR manager. Now let's look at the same situation from the perspective of business manager. So how do you think managing director or CXOs, so CFO, and some of these operations head, senior leaders, how do you think they should look at this situation when the HR manager comes and tells them about the happening? How do you think they should respond to this situation? Normally, it happens in different ways in
Yeah,
different
yeah.
companies,
Yeah, this is also
which
a very
which
wide,
goes into
valid
panic
question.
mode and a lot of things happen.
Correct,
Yeah,
correct.
over to you.
This is also a very valid question because if that situations come, basically managing director or HR has to decide. He has to go into detail as to why these people have decided to join this union. Yes, why they have not directly come to the management and they came directly with the union letter. That is the one
Absolutely.
question, and that is the real theory of the reinventing. One has to decide by what is that. And secondly, if MD of the company, generally no one likes the union, no one likes the union, but we have no option also. In that case, this managing director should discuss with the HR head properly by what are the issues and why this situation has come, and accordingly, if it has come, then ask him to tackle the situation as per the law or as per the legal terms, and whatever their issues are there, questions are there, demands are there, or grievances are there. I think this is a good opportunity for management to correct these inefficiencies or these deficiencies, and to improve our industrial relations also by way of union.
Hmm.
It is a good opportunity. I will say it is a good opportunity for management to have sustenance
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
handle the union also. Not an issue.
No, absolutely right. People talk a lot about a cliche, and the cliche is, people talk a lot about the fact that one should break one's comfort zone for growth. Whenever
Yeah,
a union is formed, the news itself breaks the comfort zone of the management, and
yes,
that's where people initially, if
correct.
you look at the change management curve, nobody
Yes,
looks at any change with welcoming. Nobody starts clapping and celebrating change. No,
yeah,
there's a curve. So Cobbler Roche model. So there is a model also around this. So I think it's important for us to appreciate something which Balasaheb sir said. Look at this challenge as an opportunity.
yes,
Something around trust has to be done.
correct.
One has got to actually look within and see if something can be done differently. Maybe you can use the same union. I'm using this word use in a very positive way. You can use the same union. You can use the fact that the formation of union has already happened to build better communication, to build better rapport, to build better and deeper relationships with people. Because now you have got, instead of talking to hundreds or thousands of people, you are going to talk to just 6 or 7 people. And if these
Correct.
people are intelligent people, they appreciate and understand the situation, and that's what I've seen happening in most of the unions. They're actually
Correct.
intelligent people.
Yeah, yeah.
So look at it in a manner that, yeah, challenges can become opportunities. Absolutely. Well, so the next question is, people talk a lot about internal and external union. Oh, so my union is internal, and then the other HR manager feels a little low that his or her union is external, and there's a lot of debates happen around this. Would you like to make some comment on whether internal is better, whether external is okay? I mean, of course, this is the reality of life. People may not accept it, may not like it, but this happens. At times, the unions become external, which is the second degree of breaking the comfort zone. Now, there is a union, and this union is not internal, this is external, where there are other people who also are getting involved. Would you like to make some comment here? How exactly?
Sir, my views is we should not worry about whether internal or external. Because internal union has its own issues and all these things. And while dealing with the external union, there are different challenges also.
Yeah.
While there is a internal union, there are certain issues. Generally, every internal issue goes to the top management or something like that. When there is
Yeah,
the internal union, every now and then they will come and sit with the HR person. They will take up their issues every now and they will unite. They will collectively come and they will even take some illegal actions also, because
yeah,
when they are internal, they are not supported with the external leader. They are lacking some of the laws also. In that case, this might happen that they may something wrong things also.
yeah,
So that is also
absolutely,
there. And for every
absolutely.
issue they come and discuss. Generally, again, even internal union is there, and there is a committee. His committee is from the again workman. So he is not a committee. We have to handle the all workforce. Say you have 250 workmen, and there is a committee of only 5 people. So you have to handle the 5 committee as well as the remaining 250 also, because that is the challenge when internal union is there. But when there is the external union, you have to handle only the committee and the external guy. Generally, handling external union is always better, because that guy is already having union in several companies and all these things, and he understands the situation, he understands the international relations also, and that might help. But again, it has its own consequences also, because
Yeah,
then internal union has no say, because everything they have to go to the external leader, and whatever he will say, they will come back and put up their questions. So
this
it
is a
has
very
its own.
important point, gentlemen. And let me share another truth of life. I think this is something which Balasaheb sir has already indicated, already he has pointed out. Actually, in real life, there is no union which is 100% internal. That's
Yes,
because even the people who are going to form the union, they are going to seek guidance from somebody who is from external, who is seen as an expert and veteran in the field of union and management, relations. I mean, somebody who has been behind many such unions getting supported or getting, enlightened, inverted comma, by the person. So that way, actually, no union is truly internal. Of course, for the sake of saying that, we can say that these people are all our employees, but actually they are every day in the evening, they are having meeting with you, they're also going
I
and
will
having a meeting
only
with
add
somebody.
one question. In internal union, there is always lack of leadership.
Lack of leadership, yeah, because
Yes,
absolutely there might be some war for leadership as well internally.
correct,
And sir, another thing which you said is very important for any external union. The fact here is that, and that's a positive sign. That's a silver lining in the darkness. The positive sign here is that the external union is going to be led by somebody who already has been working with many such unions for
correct.
many multinationals, for many organizations. So often with experiences, with life, with work, these people become a little seasoned. They actually have gone through some of the toughest circumstances. They actually might have seen some of the blue collared employees being laid off by some of these companies, and entire heat coming to them. So actually they have gone through the grill of life, so to say. So probably these people are having knowledge. They also know how to deal with such interactions. And
Yeah,
that's what Balasaheb sir said very clearly, that in case the union is internal, there might be a risk that you have got some very naive people who are becoming a part of union for the first time, and they look at it as wielding power. They get a feeling
yes,
that they've got a brahmastra in their hand, and in their over enthusiasm, they may do something which may not be good for the
yes,
company also.
correct.
So actually, it's not such
Absolutely
a
right.
big thing. Yeah, absolutely. Balasab sir, another thing which I've seen many companies talking about is the duration of, tenure of signing agreement. Of course, we are just making a change we are changing the gear, but I think it's important. Many companies take a pride in saying that, we have signed an agreement for 3 years. Then there are companies which come and see that we have signed the agreement for 4 years. And then there are companies or CHR or HR heads who feel a little low and sad in saying that we have just signed an agreement for 2 years. Whatever. I don't know whether 2 years is something which has happened, but 3 years is something which happened. Would you like to share something about what could be the ideal, if at all there is something called ideal, duration or tenure for signing the wage long-term wage settlement?
Generally, this long-term settlement, that is LTS, we call it LTS or wage settlement or any wage rise increments or
Yeah,
the agreement also, because it is a very lengthy procedure. Generally, in every organization, when we start the negotiation with the union, it generally takes 6 months, 8 months, or say 1 year also.
yeah,
Generally, 1 year is over between this negotiation time and all these things. And
yeah,
now the trend is to have the settlement more than 3 years, because most of the settlements are now productivity based, or it is directly linked with your performance and all these things, because that days is now gone. You only give certain rise for the 3 years or 2 years or something like that, and forget it. Now, because this workman or union is also part of the organization, they have to also take the part in all activities, say like even production, productivity, discipline, and all these things. So generally, when we have to sign the win-win situation, and when it takes or 1 year or so, it is always better to have settlement more than 3 years. Now there is a
Okay.
trend of 4 years, 5 years also. Yes,
Okay.
because if we have to sign the 3 years, more than 3 years settlement, more than 3 years settlement, some extra benefits we have to pass on to the workman also. And it is really in the long term basis, it is always better to have long term settlement of more than 3 years, because this procedure itself it takes 1 year, 1 year or so. If we
Hmm.
sign only 3 years agreement, then we remain only 2 years to
Yeah,
implement.
again, after 2 years, again, the
Yes.
same cycle
And
begins.
again the same situation, because they have right to again terminate the settlement before 2 months of the expiry of the settlement. Again the reprocess start. Again the time is taken. So my advice is to generally have to have settlement of 4 years or 4.5 years or 5 years right now. This is the
Five
thing.
years, kind of. 4 to
As per
5
the
years range.
changing scenario, it should be more than 4 years or at least minimum 4 years.
Hmm.
Yes.
So that's a great idea because this has got the best of balance. So this also gives time to people because they already have spent almost 1 year while signing while coming
Yeah.
to the
Yeah. Yes.
conclusion.
Yes.
This
It is
gives
a very
them time, and
lengthy
also
procedure.
this also safeguards the company in case some changes happen in the surrounding scenario. Suppose inflation and some of these changes happen.
Correct.
This also gives them
Correct.
time. It's not too long also. So 4 to 5 years is something which is something which people can look for. And I think that let's take a pause here, sir. Uh, uh, you are leading. You are holding a very senior position in NIPM. Does NIPM do something? I'm pretty sure it must be doing some programs. It must be holding a lot of programs where employee relations professionals can come and be a part of this, and then they can also learn some of the things which we are going to discuss. Would you like to share something about how NIPM has been supporting people? Are there some courses which NIPM conducts? Are there some programs which NIPM has been doing? I know that there are a lot of programs happening, but I would like to hear from you. And then we shall move on to other questions also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, the NIPM is a national body of National Institute
Yeah.
of Personnel Management, and these all HR and IR professionals, they are the live members of the NIPM. You
Yeah.
know it better. And there is always EC committee members, which is elected for the 2 years period. And basically, they are senior live members who have expertise and experience in the HR and IR field. So, like this NIPM basic motto is to hold the meetings, various meetings on various learning sessions
Yeah.
and at various places. And this gives an opportunity for the HR professionals for having networking and exchange of thoughts with each other, and sharing their achievements and happening in the respective organization, as well as what are the challenges generally industries are facing, what are the new laws are coming, what are the new issues are coming, and where these settlement trends are happening in various industries, what is the trend and how it is there, what are the union issues. All these sort of issues are generally discussed in this meeting. And we also, as a NIPM Pune chapter, we hold every month one meeting, which is basically a learning session for all the HR fraternities, and wherein most of the people are coming and sharing their experiences and having proper networking. Because
Okay.
networking is very important. I will say networking is very important because you are working in HR and IR field where you need the support of these other HR personnel also.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
everyone is not expert. And we have to add some of the inputs from the various persons and in the situation and all these things. So that way, I think NIPM is doing a fantastic job to help to support all HR fraternities in this work.
Hmm.
Yes.
No, this is very powerful a point,
Yeah, yeah.
audience. So I have been in the field of human transformation, and I know for sure that one of the key factors for one to transform one's life and career is to actually learn, keep on learning. And despite having written some books, I know for sure that one of the best ways for people to learn is to learn from people. And networking is very important
Yes.
because networking, as I said, is very important. It's not urgent. If you do not network today, nothing is going to happen tomorrow or maybe over next couple of months' time. But if you do not network, believe me, somebody's career is going to get a hit in some period of time. Because what I have seen is that, based on my personal experience, some of the best known employee relations leaders may not have come from some of the best of institutions, MBA colleges. But they are
Yeah.
the people who are the best networked people. They know the best of people. They know the right resources, and they are the people who can pick up the phone and call the right person. They know exactly which person is going to help them in which situation. And that's something which brings us to the topic of networking. It could be NIPM, it could be some other a networking forum, but please look at networking as something which is important. Life changes, career and life become better, not because of doing something which is urgent, which anyway people are bound to do. They are going to do every day. We keep on spending a lot of time while doing something which is urgent. But life changes, you get better when you do something which is important, and
Right.
networking is actually something which is very important. Thank you so much, Balasaheb sir. This is amazing. Balasaheb sir, would you like to suggest some, maybe now, maybe later on also you can suggest, I can put it while editing the video, some links through which people can join some online courses of industrial relations, so something which NIPM might be doing, or some face-to-face programs which NIPM does. Would you like to talk about some courses for
Yeah, surely.
NIPM?
Because everyone, every HR person, he should be updated with the latest laws, various amendments, and trend of the industrial relations and higher practices being followed onward.
Yeah,
There are some short courses, online courses. They are generally helping the higher professional to upgrade their knowledge and meeting the requirement of their job
yeah,
profile. So I will
yeah.
always suggest that there are various courses like postgraduate diploma in industrial relations and personal management, that is there. Master of HRM, that is also there. Then there is one certified labor relations professionals course is there. Then there is a master's degree in business administration, that is MBA, we call
Okay.
it the MBA is there. There are executive development programs, or EDPs are there, and there are so many online courses and workshops are there. That is generally helping the people or the HR fraternities to update their knowledge and to get the new knowledge and new challenges and updated.
Very nice. Sir, would you like to talk about something? I mean, I'm pretty sure that since we have got Ministry of Labor also doing its work, uh, are there some courses which are provided by Ministry of Labor
Yeah.
to keep our IR professionals upgraded? Would you like to share something about this? Or are these courses coming to people through NIPM and some of these bodies?
Yeah, there are some courses generally it is handled by these government organizations also. It's like
Yeah.
CLI is there, or this Maharashtra Labour Welfare Fund is there, or there are various journals also. This is like APS Journal, APS Law Journal is there, Employment News is there, or Indian Journal for Industrial Relations is there, or Labor and Industrial Laws are there, or Indian Journal of Social Work is there. There are so many these journals and the institutions are there, like MCCI is there, like these NIPM bodies are there, like these MIDCs and all these NIMA
Wow.
and NIPAM and all these things. They are also holding so many programs for
Beautiful.
the HR fraternity or the people who are concerned.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think all the HR professionals know by now, know for sure that there are certain journals, there are certain monthly updates which are coming,
Yes,
which
correct,
are
correct.
talking about some of the changes which might be taking place in the field of industrial relations, in the field of
Yes.
industrial relations laws. So I think make it. I think it's something important. It's very important for all IR leaders, or for all employee relations professionals, to subscribe to some of these journals.
Basically, you have to keep yourself updated because yesterday's knowledge was different, today's is different, and tomorrow's knowledge will be different. You have to accordingly change your knowledge and upgrade and update your knowledge basically to meet the future
Mm-hmm.
requirement. That's why
Great.
these
And some of
courses
these
are needed.
upgradations are going to happen through books. Some of these upgradations are going to happen through journals. Some of these upgradations are going to happen while listening to people like Balasaheb sir. And once again,
Yes.
thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Because these interactions have got a lot. I've got a lot because we are talking to somebody who has got close to 4 decades of employee relations experience and HR experience. And that's the reason I think it's very important for us to seek some mentors and talk to mentors. NIPM is one of the best platforms because I have attended some of the programs, some of the sessions of NIPM. It's one of the best bodies which does the great job of bringing mentors and knowledge seekers together on the same platform. And I think
Correct.
there are quite a few sessions which keep on
Yeah, yeah.
happening across the year.
Absolutely
Great.
right.
Balasab sir, let's go back to the interesting topic. We took a pause while talking about NIPM and while talking about some of the very important ways for people to keep on upgrading themselves. So now coming back to the same topic of employee relations cases. Talking about the long-term settlement, we spoke about the tenure, which is like
Hmm.
4 to 5 years is what we
Yeah.
discussed. Normally, people also talk about one thing that while signing the long-term wage settlements, let's also keep a part of benefits as variable. Let's not
Yes.
give everything in fixed. Would you like to share
Correct.
something about what could be the ideal ratio between fixed and variable increase? Yeah.
I am also in favoring of this signing the agreement with productivity base or having some percentage of their increase directly linked with their performance.
Yeah,
Because industry cannot be run only by the management or the owner of the company.
yeah,
Industry can be run by both the parties, that is workman as well as management. And there are cases, because now the situation has come, these workmen are getting good handsome salary. At the same time, they should have some roles and responsibilities in the management also.
yeah,
And now you might be seeing there is various competitions in the market, and we have to keep our prices as low as much as you can. This cost consciousness is always there. Competition is always there. Outside of competition, in that case, you have to achieve the highest productivity within the minimum your fixed assets. If you have to maintain the fixed asset as low as much low as possible,
yeah,
then you have to have certain binding on the labor union or workmen, that they will earn something
yeah,
out of the settlement rise by way of direct production or by way of direct productivity. So it is always better. There is a trend generally having 25 to 50% part of the hike or increase is directly related with the production and their performance. There are many
yeah,
companies that already signed it and it is being implemented, because it is better for the both, because they get the amount or whatever they achieve. That is one thing. And secondly, companies also least bother. A company is sure that these people are going to give this productivity and production, and we have to give this much. Because if we get good productivity with good quality of material and all these things on time and all these things, management has no point in denying or not giving any increase or something like that. But signing of this settlement with 25 to 50% direct rise with this productivity or something, it becomes difficult. It is a tough job for the HR managers and union to get into the track and get into fixed mode and signing the settlement. It is slightly difficult job, but once you sign it, then it becomes very easy to implement for the next 4 years. So I will always say,
mhm,
now the trend is there, now the laws is there. If you have to follow the industry standard, productivity metric, then you have to have this negotiation dynamics and all these things. And considering the historical performance and the future need, I think companies are signing now the LTS with this direct increase, rise directly related to production and productivity. And this is a trend. This is going to survive the company.
mhm.
Yes.
So this is very interesting because what I have also seen happening is that in many organizations which have got a union formed recently, of course, initial reaction is that of shock and denial and all that.
Yeah.
We spoke about the curve which people follow, but there comes a time when the management and union they start having interactions and then they conclude a long-term wage settlement which has got a good percentage of variable pay. What it
Yeah.
means is that there is a good percentage of benefits linked to productivity enhancement, and then the company actually starts seeing higher production and higher productivity
Yes.
than the time when there was no union. This
Correct.
happens. So there is a book called Death and Dying. Death and Dying is a book which was written by some doctors who used to see some terminally ill patients. And these patients, when they first used to come to know that they have got a serious disease, the initial reaction was that of shock. And then the second reaction is that of denial. They used to go to some other doctors for having a cross verification. And then this change management curve actually started from there, which is also known as
Hmm.
Kobler-Ross model. And then people realized that this is the same model which also applies in
Yes.
case of any change management and union. If you ask me, this is for the first time that we're discussing on this topic.
Yes.
Any union, any case of formation of union, an HR leader coming to know that some union has already been formed is a typical case of change management. Initial shock, denial, frustration, anger. How can you form a union?
Yes.
How dare you mistrust me, Mr. Shop floor people? And then we are management, and then they will say we are union. And
Revenge
everything
strategy and
happened.
all this.
All
Yes.
these things happen. And then after some time, it all settles down, and then they start talking across the table, and then the change management curve starts going up and up and up. And that's what we're discussing. Sir, another thing which is
Yeah.
very important. Yeah, sorry, you
Yeah,
are
I
saying
told
something.
you there was an organization where I worked. They were saying we welcome the union. And it was my one of the toughest job to form the union, and they have settlement with him. There are the organizations are also, they knows the workman's right also, and they know how to deal and all the thing. But there are companies who always there and you say ki, why you joined the union, and again the tussle starts and again the revenge strategy applies and it goes where I don't know. But it is not helpful.
Well, this is very powerful point. Thanks for bringing this point. So let me cite one example from my personal experience. I was working as head of HR in a Tata organization.
Yes,
This Tata organization had rather has multiple factories, multiple sites. One site
correct.
was and is in Jamshedpur,
Hmm.
where there was a union, and this union was affiliated to the Tata Workers Union. So
Hmm.
the head of Tata Workers Union also used to guide this union.
Yeah,
And then the company also had and has a site in Pune, where we had one union getting formed, which was that of youngsters who had tasted the inverted comma blood for the first time. They wanted to show their,
correct.
and I can tell you, audience, it's very interesting a case which I thought of thanks to Balasaheb sir bringing this point between both the unions, because at the same time I was working with both the unions. In Jamshedpur, not a single hour of production loss. Nothing happened. Absolutely
Correct, correct.
peaceful. Union is there. We used to go and have tea and coffee. We used to have long discussions. We used to battle it out in the boardrooms, and still we used to sign the agreement without any problem.
Yeah, yeah.
In Pune, everything happened. You talk of which, and we are going to talk about some of these things also. I saw everything happening in Pune, including police, including public, including politics, including lawyers, including injunction, including this and that and that and this. And then I used to wonder as just imagine, look at the legacy of Tatas. They actually welcome unions. Actually, they have shown to the world that a union can become the lever to the path of industrial peace and harmony. For
Correct.
75 years, I still recall
Yes,
while working in Tata Steel, sir, actually, I still recall we had been, all the employees had been gifted a wristwatch.
yeah.
And that wristwatch was to celebrate a very special occasion, which was that of 75 years of industrial harmony without
Hmm.
losing a single hour. So I think I know it's a path of maturity, because not all the companies can actually have this kind of maturity in
Correct.
such a short span of time. We are talking about a group which has seen many decades. But I think I just wanted to share this example to drive home one point, and that is, with bit of maturity, with bit of trust for each other, with bit of positive mindset and attitude to actually make it work, we can actually make it work, isn't it, sir?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So now let's talk about this dreaded, this fearful word of strike. So when a strike notice comes, or suppose a strike has already started, would you like to talk a bit about how exactly the leadership team, operations head, and HR head should handle such a situation? Now we're
Yeah.
talking about a strike, which is something nobody wants, but it's something is once again a reality in many
Yeah,
companies.
generally the strike is not a good sign of any industry or something like that. The
Yeah.
situation should not go to that extent.
Yes.
But if there is no option or the situation has come that workmen have decided to go on strike,
Yeah.
then we should know what are the do's and what are the don'ts. Do's and don'ts, we should know the do's and don'ts only, because during the workman strike, generally it is essential to adhere certain guidelines to ensure safety,
Yeah.
legality, and effective communication. These are
Yeah.
very important. In do's, I think I will say that ensure the safety of all individuals involved, because in that time something wrong may happen. Both those participating in the strike and those who are not, their safety is important. Then communicate openly and transparency with the stakeholders, including employees, management, and the relevant authorities is very important. Respect the right of the workman of the strike. That is also important. Respect the rights of the workers of strike, as long as it is conducted peacefully within the bounds of the law or within the borders of the law. Consider negotiating with the striking workers to address their grievances and find a mutually acceptable solution. Then
Yeah.
document all incidents, communications, and agreements related to strike for future
Yeah.
reference, and stay informed about the relevant labor laws, regulations, and the compliances. I think
Yeah.
these are the few things we must do it. So long as don't engage in any form of violence,
Yeah.
coercion, or intimidation during the strike. This is very important. Don't retaliate against the striking workers to take punitive actions that could escalate tensions. That is also important. Don't ignore the grievances of the striking workers or dismiss their concerns without proper consideration. Don't violate any labor laws or regulations, including those related to collective bargaining and their workman rights. Don't spread the false information or rumors that could escalate the situation, and don't allow the strike to disrupt essential services or endanger the public safety.
Wow.
Remember, we have to remember that handling of the workman strike requires sensitivity, patience, and commitment to resolving issues through a peaceful and constructive means. So one
Mm,
should
mm.
know what to do and
Beautiful.
what to do. Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for sharing it so effectively. I'm pretty sure many people are going to get benefited. Sir, talking about the strike, I'm thinking of another thing which is also very important for any HR or IR professional to keep in mind. What I've seen happening with many HR professionals who might have joined from a very good MBA college and from a very, white background, and now they're
Yeah.
getting into the domain of blue collared, working or, experiences. What I've seen happening is that when the strike notice comes or when things start going in that direction, they start running from pillar to post. What I mean by when I say pillar to post is they start running to police, they start running to lawyers, they start running to political leaders also at times they start running to local gram panchayat people. And then I often wonder is why did HR leaders and IR leaders not spend some time in a proactive manner over
Yes.
last few years while building these relations? Because relations are relations, whether it's a relationship with your neighboring person, or whether it's a relationship building exercise with people who are so important for your business, right? Would you like to share some nuggets of wisdom for youngsters on the power, on the need of proactive relationship building? Just going and spending some time, just going and having some tea coffee, just inviting some of these people to be the
Yeah.
chief guest of this, or whatever you want to share. Over to you, sir.
Sure, this proactive relationship of the management with the workmen and even with the government officials or labor officials are very important, because this will definitely help the organizations to resolve the issues. I will
Hmm.
say always the HR or higher professional must maintain a proactive relationship with the government officials on a frequent basis and without having any work also. Meeting
Yeah.
with them just to say hello or how are you, or have a tea or some business meal or something like that. This really helps to maintain the cordial relations within the organization, because by that way we have a right, we have time, we have opportunity to explain our case, explain our company, what is going on in the company, what are the union situations, what are those, and we also get a lot of information from these government officials
Yeah.
and these union leaders, what is going in and around the company. So I will say always this can help the government also to update about the happening in the organizations, and it really helps during the difficult situation of the company. When we have good relations or proactive relations with the all these union or the government official, it is definitely helping us to
Hmm.
resolve the issues when the company is in difficult situation, or
Hmm.
when the strike situation comes, or when some go slow or some low wages or some labor issues are coming. In that case, these proactive relations are generally helping, because I have already experienced, because I always worked as a proactive nature, because I always see in my career that the problem should not come in the next few years or something like that. And for that, I always followed the proactive leadership
Hmm.
or proactiveness, and that has helped me, because
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
because of the proactive nature, I was very open with the union also, as well as the management, as well as the government officials and outsiders also, so that things were very easy to manage. I will
Yeah.
definitely say
Yeah.
that these
Yeah.
proactive relationship are the key, the backbone of this. One
Very
has to,
important.
yes,
Very important. Audience, that is a very important point. I think you must have read this sentence of wisdom somewhere. I'm pretty sure you must have read. Many of you might have read that an average person learns from one's own mistakes,
yeah,
and a wise, intelligent person learns from the mistakes of others. All that we are speaking about is not only based on the success stories which we all have built. We're actually sharing our experiences based on some of the good which you might have done, which you have done, and some of the things which we could have done better. And I think what we spoke of just now is very important. If a HR person has got this proactive habit of just going and spending some time with, say, labor commissioner or say gram panchayat leader or say, some of these offices,
local
government
leaders
offices,
or MLAs or MPs and all this.
MLAs in a proactive manner, just to go and say
Yes,
hello,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure that you are going to be remembered by those people because they
Yes.
are used to seeing people who come when when water has come neck deep and then people are about to, sink. And that's so they are used to seeing these people who come when the house is on fire. In the same situation, when they see somebody like you who just goes, smiles, and says hello, they're going to remember you. Number one. Number two is very important. I'm going to go to the extent of saying that if people proactively maintain a very good relationship with gram panchayat, local villages, local community, government leaders, some of these offices like labor offices, some of the labor offices and some of these government officials, if they maintain a strong relationship proactively, actually a stitch in time will save nine. You may never come to the stage of having a strike. And
Yes.
there is an insight behind it. I know all the people are getting it, getting the connection. I won't say much because just imagine, suppose you are maintaining a very good rapport with people who are from surrounding villages. You are
Yes.
inviting some of these leaders. Before some of these youth, so before some of these young people who might be residing in the same villages, before they think of doing something which might lead to a strike or formation of union, taking a step back, somebody will come and tell you, sir, there is something which you can do differently. People will start supporting you. People
Yes.
will start informing on time.
Yes. Yes.
And if you ask me, the biggest difference which I have seen between a seasoned, great employee relations leader and an average leader, and of course, people learn from mistakes, and we all are learning on the way. We all are on the way to learn and get better. That single biggest difference is the nature of proactivity, the habit of being proactive. Because some of the seasoned leaders will certainly do certain things which are proactive in nature. And of course, one of the best examples is in front of us, Balasaheb sir. He did say that actually he has been working in out things in such a manner that things are proactive. Great. So,
I
audience, I
will
would
add
like,
something. I will add
yeah,
something because you said about these villages or the industries in rural areas.
yeah,
Because ये तो मैंने खुद एक्सपीरियंस किया है कि जहाँ विलेजेस में ये इंडस्ट्री रहता है वहाँ क्या जनरली ये क्या रहता है दिस पीपल गोज टू एनी एमएलए और एमपीज और द लोकल लीडर्स और वो तो क्या है देखो उनके हिसाब से बातें बताते रहते हैं
yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
we have a proactive relations with these MLAs or MPs or the local leaders, because in that case, even that MPs or local MLA, he also guide people. नहीं नहीं नहीं, वो कंपनी ऐसा नहीं है भाई, आपने कुछ गलत
अच्छा,
किया होगा, ऐसा नहीं है वो कंपनी, बिकॉज वी नो दैट कंपनी वेरी वेल एंड इंडस्ट्री चलाना कितना प्रॉब्लम है क्या है, बिकॉज वो लोग हमसे आए थे मिले थे उन्होंने बताया क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम चल रहे हैं, उनके कुछ फाइनेंशियल प्रॉब्लम है, उनके इंडस्ट्री कुछ प्रॉब्लम है और कुछ डिसिप्लिन रिलेटेड इश्यूज है, तो आप लोग देखो ये इंडस्ट्री हमारे लिए है ये लोकल एरिया में, तो आप भी कंपनी के डिसिप्लिन फॉलो करो, ये घर नहीं है हमारा, इंडस्ट्री है, इंडस्ट्री चलाने में बहुत प्रॉब्लम आते हैं, तो इन दैट वे दिस इज हेल्पिंग ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस आल्सो टू गेट सम इनपुट्स एंड कुछ केसेस में तो वो लोग बता देते कि यार आपके क्या प्रॉब्लम है क्या, ये लोग कुछ प्रॉब्लम करने वाले हैं, जो है
हाँ
वो
हाँ,
देखो उससे बात करके वो सटा हो ताकि आपको
सर
प्रॉब्लम नहीं
सर
आए,
बिल्कुल,
दैट वे दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ हेल्प इज आल्सो गेटिंग बिकॉज ऑफ दिस प्रोएक्टिव रिलेशनशिप, यस दिस आल्सो,
absolutely.
यस
Absolutely. And also there is another thing another tool which I think many HR leaders are not able to use. They look at this tool as something which is very ordinary. There is something called, we all know CSR, corporate social responsibility. And I think any
yes
company which is making
yes
profit has got to spend some 2% of its, money, which the company is making. So I think we can also use CSR in such a manner that
yes
we actually look at the actual problems which surrounding community is facing and
right
let's
right
do something about it. I think people will start eating out of your hands. This is also something which I've seen happening. Great. So it needs a lot of hard work because doing something which is proactive, doing something which is important and which is not urgent needs a lot of hard work. A lot of, it also requires some vision, ability to
yes
look into the future, which people know as foresight. If you do some of these things, believe me, IR and HR is going to be a lot more fun than it is. Of course, it's fun, but yeah, it can be more fun. So great. So there are three different types of companies that I have seen, and of course, I think we can also add to the different categories of companies. One is a companies like Indian multinational.
yeah
Second is foreign multinationals. Third is promoter-driven companies, and of course, there could be different criteria, different sectors. And I've worked in all these companies because currently in this field, I'm working with quite a few companies at the same time where most of these companies are driven by Indian, leaders, businessmen, and they actually have got very high aspirations. Some of these companies want to be number one in India in their sector in next 5 months' time. So I'm talking about those companies. When it comes to unionism, have you seen a difference in approach adopted by some of these companies? Of course, we spoke about Tata experience, and so I think I know there is a difference. But over to you, sir.
I
Yeah.
will say always, yes, you are rightly said. There are some foreign MNCs, there are some Indian MNCs, and there are some promoter-driven companies also. Their approaches is different because generally foreign MNCs often come from countries where the labor union may be
Mhm.
less, or prevalent, or have a different role compared to the India. They
Yeah.
may view unions as potential disruptors to operations and may prioritize maintaining a harmonious labor relations management to ensure the smooth operation. Foreign MNCs might have standardized HR practices and procedures that they prefer to implement globally, which may or may not align with the union demands. And they may have stricter guidelines regarding the union activities and may prefer to negotiate from the position of strength. This is generally being followed by the foreign MNCs. This position of strength is very important because they knows the laws in their countries and all these things, and they have their standard HR policies. So in
Yeah.
that way, from the position of strength, they are very powerful in handling their situation. Whereas the Indian MNCs are there, Indian MNCs are familiar with the local industry relations and may have more experience in dealing with the unions compared to the foreign MNCs.
Yeah.
They may have more enhanced understanding of the socio-political dynamics that influence the union
That's
behavior in India. Indian MNCs might adopt more conciliatory approach towards the union and maintain a positive image to avoid negative publicity. And they may be more open in incorporating union demands into their policies and practices, recognize the importance of maintaining the good relations with the labor force. So generally, the local, they are connected with either the local leaders or local people and all these things. So their
yeah.
approach is different. It's
Yeah.
not like foreign MNCs, but Indian MNCs, they are generally adaptive and acceptive and accepting the demands or the views of the union and also with political leaders. Whereas these promoter-driven companies have often a strong entrepreneurship ethos and may have originated from the family-owned business generally.
Yeah.
They may have personal or emotional attachment to their employees. Generally,
Yeah.
it happens. They have their personal attachment. नहीं हमारे लोग कैसे
They
कर
are
ही नहीं
my
सकते.
people. मेरे लोग
हाँ,
हैं.
they are
हाँ.
my people. वो कैसे कर सकते हैं? ये तो कर नहीं सकते. Or they may be willing to engage with unions on a personal levels also.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Promoter-driven companies might have a more flexible approach to the industry relations depending on the preferences and attitudes of the promoters themselves. And they may
Hmm.
prioritize maintaining a sense of loyalty and trust with their employees, which could influence their approach in dealing with the unions. So this is
Hmm.
the difference,
Hmm.
basically.
Beautiful, beautifully said, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Last two questions, quick ones, and now we shall close. I can see that we are approaching 1 hour, and I think it has been such a
Oh, good.
wonderful conversation with you that I didn't even realize that we are going to approach almost 1 hour. So, last two questions. One is that would you like to talk about some labor laws
Yeah.
which you think any HR or IR leader must know,
Yes,
must
sir.
go through, must brush up?
Sir, basically, when there is an industry, there is a law. And we have to follow the laws of lands. That is
Yeah,
important
yeah,
laws of
yeah,
land.
yeah, yeah.
And in India, I think there are certain, say around 30 laws, 30 various
Yeah,
laws and statutes, which are applicable to the any industry as per the need or as per the requirement or as per the production
yeah,
activities or the region. So basically, the Factories Act 1948 is a main important act, Indian Factories Act. Then, then comes to Minimum Wages Act 1948. Then comes to Payment of Wages Act 1936. Then comes to Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1952. Then Employees State Insurance Act 1948. Then Industrial Disputes Act 1947. And as we talk about the Trade Union Act 1926 is also there. Then one important act is Contract Labor in bracket Regulation and Abolition Act 1970 is also there. Payment
yeah,
of Bonus Act is there. Payment of bonus is also there. Payment of Maternity Benefit Act is there. Equal
yeah.
Remuneration Act is there. Then Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions, that is code is there. Then POSH is there, and so many HRA Act is there. Minimum wages are there. Mathadi Act is there. Like so many acts are there which are now applicable to the industries, and it is very important for HR personnel to have the thorough knowledge of each and every
All
law.
these acts.
Yes. What are the laws? What are the applicable terms and conditions? What are the rules and regulations? And accordingly, it should be.
Very nice. Very, very clear. Very clear. So, the last question now. So whenever a union situation comes up, HR, IR leaders will get in touch with a lawyer as well,
Yes.
no, an advocate. Now the lawyer has got his own way of suggesting things. Do you think that IR way and legal way both have got something which is not in common. So how should HR or IR leaders take the right decision? Because a legal person may say something which is legally correct, but
Yes.
socially, or maybe as per your culture, maybe as per your company's culture, it may not be the right thing to do. So any comment from your side on this? I think I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure the
certainly
audience is
sure.
getting
Because
but
any HR professional, he is not a lawyer, or he might not be having the deep, in-depth knowledge about the law and all these things. So always one has to consult the lawyer whenever situations come. But my opinion is that higher leaders should follow the advice of the lawyer to the extent that they are not aware about the legal and court procedures to maintain the harmony between the industry relations and labor laws. However, for this purpose, HR or IR professionals must go through, have a thorough knowledge, and he must be having the full clarity about the lawyer or the consulting lawyer for getting the that right advice.
yeah,
And he should mainly basically focus on the legal compliances. What are the legal compliances? What is risk management? How the conflict resolution can be done, how policy can be developed, how strategic guidance is there, and how training and education is there. For that purpose, I think for the legal terms of legal provisions and legal applicability, one has to go to the lawyer and one has to accept his advice. But at the same time, what happens? He will give the legal advice, and generally, HR or IR professional has to maintain the industry relations based on the situations which is there in the industry. And he has his own issues and all these things. He knows how these issues can be tackled in that organization. That might lawyer might not be knowing. Lawyer is knowing about the only legal terms. लॉयर विल
yeah,
सर आपको क्या चाहिए, आपको फैक्ट्री बंद करना है, एक्शन लेना है, निकाल देना है, क्या करना है हम करेंगे. बट इट इज नॉट एप्लीकेबल ऑल द टाइम्स. ये विल से कि मेरे पास इशू क्या, आपको क्या चाहिए वो बोलो, मैं करवा देगा. बट
yeah,
बट हमें देखना है भाई कि जनरली मोस्ट ऑफ द इश्यूज आर सेटल्ड विद इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. बट जहाँ हमें ऑप्शन ही नहीं है, जहाँ कोई चांस नहीं है, जहाँ सिचुएशन ऐसी आई कि अभी लीगल जाना है, कोर्ट मैटर हो गया है, कोर्ट केस हो गया है, और लेबर मैटर में चला गया है, या तो लेबर इंडस्ट्रियल कोर्ट या लेबर कोर्ट में मैटर चला गया है, तो वी हैव टू फॉलो द गाइडेंस ऑफ द एडवोकेट और लॉयर एंड जो डाटा है. बट फॉर दैट ऑल्सो इनपुट जो है हमारे, वो इनपुट हमें देना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. बिकॉज इनपुट देने के बाद ही लॉयर हमारा केस आराम से मतलब प्रिटेंड कर सकता है, केस लड़ सकता है कोर्ट में. तो ये जो डाटा है उसके लिए जो एचआर प्रोफेशनल है उसको थरो नॉलेज चाहिए,
hmm,
इशू का पूरा इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए, उनके पास डाटा बेस जो भी है इंफॉर्मेशन वो पूरा चाहिए, और अकॉर्डिंगली इवन वी कैन हैंडल विद एनी सिचुएशन विद द हेल्प ऑफ द लॉयर और कोर्ट.
hmm. Very
यस.
powerful thing, audience. With this, we shall close the conversation. I'll just take a minute or two. आई थिंक हिंदी एक हिंदी में कहावत है, सुनो सबकी करो मन की. मतलब
या.
क्या? सुनिए आप सबकी. आप पॉलिटिशियन से बात कर सकते हैं, पुलिस से बात कर सकते हैं, लॉयर से बात कर सकते हैं, सबसे बात कीजिए. लेकिन इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि एम्प्लॉय रिलेशंस लीडर का जो पोजीशन है उसकी महत्ता कम होती है. एम्प्लॉय
यस.
रिलेशंस लीडर स्टिल हैज गॉट अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल टू प्ले, एंड दैट्स द रोल टू, एंड दैट्स ऑल अबाउट टेकिंग द राइट डिसीजन, कीपिंग द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ द कंपनी इन माइंड. There is
यस.
something called creative problem solving. I have spoken with a few employee relations leader, and of course we are listening to Balasaheb Sonawane sir. And of course this is the third conversation with sir. I can tell you that if I will encourage you to go through the first two conversations, which I had the pleasure of, which I had the privilege of having with him, you will see one thing, that every seasoned HR or IR leader will have his or her own way of creative,
Yes.
being creative while giving a demo to people at times, while giving a kind of message to people. For example, once I was having this conversation with a very seasoned IR leader, and he gave the example that in his factory, and this was happening over last many years, people used to be seen, carrying some bottles and all that. They used to hide some bottles, pouch and all that. They used to have some drinking and all that.
Yeah.
So in order to give the message to people that this is something serious and this is something which you should not do, what he did was to get all the bottles collected in a drive, and then and he kept all the bottles on a table right in front of the entry gate. And as people used to enter, they used to see that these are the bottles which they have been using. And then actually they use this element of shock as a lever to put some very strict disciplinary procedures and processes in place in the factory. So be creative. Nobody can tell you. I think you can read as many books as you want, but nobody's going to tell you the exact solutions which are going
Yes.
to be the best solutions for your situation in your factory. And that's what Balasaheb sir has been saying. Please go through the previous conversations as well. Listen to people, but still you have got to take your own decisions, which are keeping the interest of the company and keeping the interest of all the people in mind. Balasaheb sir, thank you so much for your time. It's amazing
Only
talking to you.
one point is there.
Please, sir, over to
For
you.
these industrial relations problems,
Yeah,
there is no book or there is no written down answers for any IR problem or something.
absolutely. Absolutely.
It is up to the HR person how he handles this, how he applies his own mind, how creative he is, and how proactive he is, and based on the situations and considering the need of the organization, and even considering or accepting the demands of the workman also, how he handles the situation, that is very important, because the moment the issue comes to him, he is not prepared. He is not prepared. He has to take the 11th hour or sudden decision based on his all these issues, all his experience, all these situations, and no answer is correct, because today's answer might be a different for tomorrow's
Yeah, yeah,
any
yeah.
problem. So one has to be very particular about the situation, and his promptness or his thoroughness is helping always to take the right decision at the right time. And as I said, because industrial relations, there is no book for any issues and problems. The problem has to be there,
Absolutely.
problem will come, but solution has to find out by the creative nature of the HR person and IR person, how he
Absolutely.
works and how he.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir, for pointing this out. So, audience, we have taken a few queries, a few FAQs, and then we discussed some of the solutions around this. Having said that, you are the best judge. Okay. So, our idea was to give you some of these insights, and of course, we spoke quite a lot on being proactive, which is anyway is going to be important.
Correct.
So, I think make the best usage of some of the conversation, some of the points which were covered in this 1 hour long conversation. Having said that, if you want to know more, certainly you can reach out to Balasaheb, sir. I'm going to share his coordinates as well while editing the video. And of course, you can get connected with him on LinkedIn. And having said all of this, yes, you are the best person to take a decision while keeping the specific needs of your business in mind.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Balasaheb sir. I
Arunji.
think we are going to have further conversations as well. The idea is to just see one thing. The goal of these conversations, audience, is just one. The goal is just to see that we can bring some of these nuggets of wisdom. Of course,
Yeah.
this is something which people look at as cliche. No, it's not cliche. The idea is to bring some of these nuggets of wisdom for the benefit of younger people. Let's build this culture of learning from each other, learning from each other's experiences. And thank you, Balasaheb sir, for sharing your precious time on this Sunday. I know that you have been actually wanted to come for this conversation earlier, so we couldn't do it earlier.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, audience. Thank you, audience, for watching this. And please feel free to share this link with other people who you think might also get benefited. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arunji, for your such a great initiatives, and with your initiative and with your all these efforts, I am sure these HR paternities will definitely help by getting the few of the answers to their problems, and which they cannot directly ask, but they will get the some of the clues from our sessions and all these things, definitely. And
Thank
they
you
may
so much.
contact us also. They may contact you or me also for any queries or answers or any guidance also. And I am there to help you, help and support the new HR fraternities which are young and they have not faced this situation, but at certain time or certain moment they may get some shock or something like that, a new
Yeah,
situation. That time they can ask opinion or advice from me or
sure.
any such person who are there as a HR expert or IR expert, they can definitely help.
Surely this helps a lot. Learning from people is one of the best ways. And this heart-to-heart conversation is one little example of this. Thank you so much, Balasaheb sir, for coming as a guest. And audience, if some of you are going to get benefited from this conversation, the credit goes to only two people. One is Balasaheb sir, the guests who have been coming for this conversation. And second is you, because it's only you who are watching and who are inspiring us to create more such conversations for the benefit of people. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
No
Bye-bye.
one is perfect in this world, and learning is important throughout the life.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. Let's
Yes.
be a lifelong learner in real
Yes.
word and spirit. That's the
Yes.
point here. Thank you.